They say acquiring new knowledge is so easy, right? Because we have the internet and we all have like phones, attached to our eyeballs. But it's not as, you know what they don't go over? Internet speeds, right? Like you can look up anything and acquire new knowledge, but it depends on how fast you can actually connect. Because that is what they don't talk about. Everyone's always like, oh, it's so easy. But not if your internet takes like 5 minutes. I mean, then you got to hear those stories of like, oh, back in my day, you had to go to a different building and you're going, what are you talking about? And you go, yeah, you had the journey and fight the elements like Hercules and the 12 labors. And you're going, what? Yeah, you had to walk uphill both ways in the snow. It doesn't snow around here. It does if you have to go to this other building, because this other building, the library, is located in like the outskirts of town. And you ever try to go to one? Right? Because you try the internet thing and that doesn't work. And so you try, the back in the day routine. That place is quiet as a mouse. I don't know if mouses are quiet, but that place is silent. It's so silent, you can smell the silence. That or the desperation, I'm not really sure. Because they're like, oh, well, the books have all the new knowledge. And you're going, the outdated books that have dust covered out all over them? No, 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 no. I'm sure everything's fine. The library I went to had VHS tape. So that if that doesn't tell you anything, you know what I'm saying. And you walk in there, and the moment you step inside, shh, because you gotta be quiet. I once walked in there and thought too loud, and I got shushed just by you. I thought, and it was so loud. That's how quiet it is in there. And nobody is sitting where they're supposed to. You walk in there and like everybody's like up on a shelf and you try and turn the corner and they're just waiting for you. They go, boo, answer these questions three. And you're going, I didn't sign up for any of this. There's no knowledge here. I got to get out of here. It's dimly lit. You're not really sure what's going on. And so sometimes it's just easier to gather whatever useless clues is around and come to your own conclusions, especially when you're young. It's so super easy, especially if you just keep it to yourself. Like when the first time I experienced the elements, not going to that other building, that's for sure. But it was like raining outside and it was cloudy. Everywhere you looked, clouds. Anywhere you went, raining. So I thought in my head it was just rained everywhere around the whole globe. Like if it was raining where I was, it was raining where you were. Because who knew the actual size of the globe? And, everywhere you look, clouds, ipso facto, rains everywhere. Yeah, put these things together. It's until you voice them out loud. That's when sometimes other people hear them and you go, "Hey, well, wait a minute. He doesn't think." Like, why is the sky blue? Well, most of the world is covered in water. Water's blue. Maybe that's like a reflection thing going on. And, it sounds good in your head, and then you say it out loud, and somebody stops you and go, well, that can't be it. Let's try and figure out and find some new knowledge. I had, there was this one time, this kid, I mean, I was a kid too, but, because everyone's always concerned about running out of water. You're sitting around the water cooler going, where's the water? It's, because we can't melt all the ice caps. So water. And this kid goes with a straight face because he had figured out he had a master plan. And I was on board because he's like, I can figure this out. If we run out of water, we'll just drink lemonade. And I thought, that's delicious. But then, sometimes you got to chew it down to the bone real quick. And you go, well, if we're out of water, and we're using lemonade. One, that means we're showering, brushing our teeth. I mean, think of all the things you use water for. How you cooking spaghetti with lemonade? I mean, lemonade can be delicious. I had it at the bottom of the Grand Canyon one time. I don't even know if it was that good, but after hiking down the Grand Canyon, anything would have tasted delicious, and that was delicious. Good cup of juice right there. So you wonder, uh, uh, And then you're like, well, also too, what is the lemonade made out of? Water. So we're not really out of water. And how many vats of lemonade do we have just sitting around to where it's like, don't worry, folks, if we run out of water, we got some juice. So there you go. Lemons out of lemonade. Let's reverse that and turn that lemonade into some aguacio. So you try and put things together and it's not really working out, right? Like the last one was I just thought like when people went to sleep, your just whole body just shut off, right? Until you find out that like people can like talk in their sleep or like get up and make an omelet. And the talking in the sleep one is the one you got to look out for because if you get up and walk around in your sleep, somebody's going to tell you. If somebody catches you just walking around and you're unconscious, you will hear about it the next day. If you talk in your sleep, you might get, a few words out here and there before anybody questions. Like you got to say something kind of ridiculous, right? Like, because if you're just like sleeping and all of a sudden you hear someone say, "I want burritos," you're like, "Well, did that come out of my head?" And did I go to Wendy's twice last week? You start trying to put things together and you can't really figure out. It's really not enough noise for the validity of sleep talking. But if you say something wild, that's when, one, you'll turn into a science experiment. I was out camping once, and you go out and everybody like has a tent buddy, and I wake up in the middle of the night, in the middle of the week. I was fine for a few nights, so I was unexpecting at whatsoever. And I thought everything's great. I wake up like a mummy in the middle, like I sit straight up, right? Like everything was. I had something to say, and I was taking the dawn of time to say it. So I woke up like a mummy, huh, and I went, "Is this for nature?" And if that doesn't wake you up, I don't know what is, because that was a powerhouse of enthusiasm. So of course that wakes up my bunkmate, who is now shocked and dismayed. What are you supposed to do with that information? It's the middle of the night. You're in nature, right? So it might be for nature. And so I doubled down because clearly I needed to say it again. So I go, "Is this for nature?" I don't know if I swung my arms or not, but powerhouse, enthusiasm. And again, now I think this guy's probably pale as a ghost. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then I slammed back down. Like, that's all the juice the mummy got. He got a few words, and that was it. Like, it wasn't a comeback. It was just kind of like a, "Hey, one more thing. Nature's good." And then I was took a peaceful sleep, right? I wake up and it's one of those situations where you don't find out from the source, right? You just find out that your tent mate is no longer going to be staying with you for the duration of your trip. And you go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, why?" Well, enjoy your nature and figure it out. So you got to be careful with that, with talking in your sleep. Now, sleepwalking, that is even crazier. I heard of this one who is a professional fighter. Could you imagine if you were a sleepwalker and a professional fighter? I've always thought of getting a guard dog because it's like, they'll bark and that's a good system. Rough, rough, rough. But you wouldn't need that if you lived with a professional fighter that throughout the middle of the night would, because if you're sleepwalking, you're unconscious, but you're still moving around. So the sanity part that would stop him from his trained Krav Maga in the face would be shut off, which means anything is be wary of his wrath or fury. Also, imagine waking up the first time noticing that it would be like misplacing a nuke, right? You just wake up and a professional fighter is now no longer where you thought they were, and now they're just roaming the house, and now you have to carefully not surprise them, but make sure they go back to where they belong. Not to anywhere crazy. Sometimes you hear like they'll like wake up, like marathon runners will like wake up in the middle of the night and go for a run. Like they'll get dressed, they'll go for a run, they'll talk to a bunny rabbit halfway through because they're delusional, and the bunny rabbit will tell them the secret to success, which will either be Fruit Loops or the Looney Tunes. You choose. And one of my siblings had the occasional sleepwalk situation, but they didn't do anything crazy. They just went on a walkabout, right? They just roamed about the house, opening things that probably shouldn't have been opened. You ever like have doors that you just don't know what's on the other side? Man, find somebody who just roams about the house, right? Because at first I was like, this can't be a real thing, and you try and like throw something like a little piece of paper, like make a little paper airplane. You go, shoo. No, that's rude. But you go, hey, what are you doing? And they're just roaming about. And then they start opening things, and you go, well, might as well check what's on the other side, right? And you ever see the useless closet? Oh, we all have one of these, right? There is a space in everybody's either house or balcony or outdoor closet, right? Where you go, oh, hey, look at some extra space that's not being utilized. And then you open it up to turn out it's just some like domed shaped tubular madness. You don't even know what it is. You're like, what is that? Then it's one of those things where the name tells you what it is, but you don't know what it is at first. And I saw my sibling trying to climb into it. I was like, oh no, that can't be it. That's the one time you gotta wake other people up because nobody's believed you up until now. Hey, such and such has been walking around the house. Why are you up? Right? Like that's their question. They start interrogating you. You're like, no, no, it's on them. I didn't do anything. They were walking about, and now what's that thing? It's a water heater. And you go, water heater? Doesn't the what do you mean? That thing heats water? Doesn't the faucet? Don't we just get water from the tap and we can just control it with the knobs? I guess you need a place for the water to get heated up, and that's it. I never thought I would need to worry about that thing ever again. I go check to make sure that thing's running, because if it's not, I'm in hot water. And with that, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Until next time, bye bye.